Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bald and Bonkers Show. Join your hosts Christopher Mole and Dakota Franson as they take you on a wild ride through the world of the supernatural, with a humorous twist that'll have you laughing and shaking in your boots at the same time. From ghosts to aliens to cryptids, no topic is off limits on this show. And the best part? You don't have to be a believer to join in on the fun. So grab a drink, kick back, and tune in every weekend for new episodes. And if you want even more of the Bald and Bonkers experience, be sure to subscribe to our Patreon page for exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. Let's get weird. Oh, and for the whiners out there, viewer discretion is advised. There you go, you entitled pricks.
Well, we are back.
What?
What was with the what?
What was the weird start there? It was weird. It was like somebody plonking on a guitar and they couldn't quite rightly play it. It was like pring.
Oh, no, that was the generic, one of the generic tones that StreamYard uses. I figured, give it about 30 seconds for the show to kick up, notifications to go out, so people know that the Bald and Bonkers boys are live.
I noticed it didn't mute my mic when I was taking my nose inhaler stuff, so I'm need to mute my mic from now on. So
yeah, there's been a couple of times where it didn't mute you when we got started. I thought that was a little weird.
Knowing my juice and
but that
steroid nasal spray.
Yeah, no. All of a sudden, it sounds like you're snorting cocaine over there at the beginning of the show, and which would explain so much about you lately.
So that money that Bald and Bonkers making nowadays, you know what I mean? Where's my credit card actually? That's
yeah.
I could place that.
Yeah, the whopping $20 the company's made within the last 30 days.
Wow, $20. See if that was in like 1673. That was a lot of money then.
Of course, obviously we know, ladies and gentlemen, because Chris is so fat, he's obviously not on drugs.
Look, it's called the hay fever, ladies and gentlemen, and I take this stuff called what is this? Sudafed blocked noseaid. It's amazing stuff, by the way. Really good stuff. But don't take too much because it's addictive. I would like to say something in the chat there, John Morris. Welcome to the room.
Hey, what's going on, John?
World. You're in for a treat tonight.
Yes, as we get to discuss one of the greatest mysteries to ever brace mankind, the ultimate female orgasm, or UFO. Brought to you by a message from the National Association for Slutty Americans.
And you've got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that Dakota here is a subscriber to that. He's a lifetime member. He pays a lot of money to be in that club, don't you, Dakota?
No, not really. No. Anyway.
What?
No, I'm joking, obviously. It's Bald and Bonkers. We gotta joke around. And you know what? They're fighting us on fucking monetization, so we might as well just let it fly.
We can't get monetized. We can't get monetized. We can't get monetized because obviously we're talking about UFOs, we're talking about 5G, we're talking about the bug, we're talking about all these things that people should know about. We're the normal people on like YouTube talking about dressing up as cats and lying in the corners and jumping about and watching cats play with balls of string and stuff like that, and
Yeah, no. It's like, no, if you have any weird cat things going on, I did just have to bury one, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dakota lost one of his cats. Oh,
he got old. That's all it is.
He's up there on the Rainbow Bridge now. He's waiting. Just think, when you're an old man of 136 and you cross that realm into the afterlife, all those animals will be waiting on you, ready to pounce on you with excitement.
Well, that bastard cat fucking almost tore off a big chunk of flesh on me, so I don't think he's going to be waiting on me.
It's a claw.
Anyway, in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, NASA just did their first big public meeting in regards to the UFO phenomenon. We thought it'd be a good time to kind of discuss it, because, once again, there's nothing fucking new.
I watched it the night. I watched the press conference tonight, and there was nothing there. It was, look, there's an orb. There might be an orb out there. There's an orb.
Yeah, once again, NASA all they're saying is that, yes, there's something going on, these orbs that have been showing up this year, especially this year, seem to be the most common UFOs, but we don't know who they are. We don't know where they're from, and that's it.
Yes.
That's
so basically,
that's
could be a
that's the
part of
most basic.
Elon Musk's spaceship falling to Earth or something stupid like that. Look, we're obviously getting visited by extraterrestrials for different worlds and different dimensions and stuff like that. They have to say this now because it's getting more and more out there. There's more and more sightings out there. It's happening more and more, and they're like, "Oh, we have to join the club with the UFOs now." Honestly, that's what they're doing. In case one day a big one appears, get what I mean? And they're like, "Oh, we knew that existed." That's
There was that study that came out not too long ago from that one Harvard professor, Avi Loeb, I believe his name is pronounced, that they're full on saying that they fully suspect there could very well be a mothership in the solar system that's been sending these craft as sort of probes to monitor us.
I will say this. There's a lot of strange things happening on the Earth right now. Have you noticed the chemtrails this weather? And this is big. This is a hot topic on TikTok and YouTube. The chemtrails this weather. You noticed the sheer amount of them?
Yeah.
I've got the Flight Radar Pro on my phone and my tablet, right? And yesterday it was beautiful blue skies in the morning, right? And I maybe counted about 15 different aircraft. And I thought, I'm gonna look this up. And there was 4 aircraft flying over me in crisscross patterns, like spraying their stuff, right?
Yep.
And I looked up the flight radar, and there was 1 helicopter showing. That's all it was showing. There was no other aircraft. I was like, that's a bit strange.
Really?
That's a bit strange. And then today around about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I was out the back, and the place was getting hazier and hazier and hazier. And I seen a plane coming in to land at Glasgow, which is 36 miles up the road. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, there. It's coming for Spain, coming back for Spain to land. It tells you its destination and stuff. But at the same time, there was one going that way, high altitude, and one going that way at high altitude, and one coming this way at high altitude, right? But this one was kind of low, and the only one that showed up was that one. Did you know? And this is an interesting fact that aircraft specialists will actually talk about this. See the contrail that comes out the back of jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does happen. There's 2 things I'm going to say here. But at lower elevations, it doesn't happen. Where this is happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
See the height of some of these aircraft that's producing this chemtrails. They're not high enough to cause the ice crystals to form, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually, they've actually come out with it now. The government's actually come out and says, oh, we're spraying it. But they'll not tell you why. I mean, is it weather modification, or are they trying to hide something? Like something that's showing up around the world in different places. There's been weird things happening lately.
Well, it's the 2020s, man. Nothing's can be thrown out the window these days. Yeah. But there's a number of different theories. Is it like a form of pesticide spraying, and they're putting something in the air to purposely make the population nowhere near as healthy, nowhere near, you would affect their intelligence levels, so they're easier to control?
There's a couple of theories. There's a lot of theories out there. One, they're spraying it to change the weather patterns. It's weather manipulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
2, they're doing it to cause haze so you can't see anything flying through the sky that shouldn't be there, right? Or things in the sky that shouldn't be there. You would still see it. If it was bright enough, you would still see it, right? So I don't hang with that. Or they're spraying something that's dumbing down the population. It's like fluoride in the water.
Yeah.
Right? It's like fluoride in the water. And I think this is all connected to the UFO stuff. I'm telling you, there's something going on, because see, in the last 6 months, it's went off the scale, the spraying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
right towards, weather starting here in the northern hemisphere is going to start getting warmer. More people are going to be out. More people to be exposed.
Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why we don't get monetization, because we talk the truth.
Yeah. It's like, here's the thing. People are going to say, oh, those two guys are crazy. None of this is true. That's the thing. If you actually look at it, there's some very real threads here that we're tugging at, and some of the stuff that's unraveling.
Do you know it's getting that bad in the UK now? The chemtrails. The BBC weather live on the TV will say this. They'll go, yes, and the chemtrails are caused by low aircraft flying, and they're actually admitting it now. They're actually just blowing a bit of dust off my specs. It landed there. I thought there was something crawling on my spec. But they're actually saying it now in the weather. They're actually saying it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been noticing a bunch of that over here in the States too.
But what they don't realise is you've got to be really high up to cause that type of thing happening.
Mm-hmm.
For ice particles to form. None of these planes are flying. Some of these planes are flying at the same altitude as ones coming into land. And the difference between contrails and chemtrails, ladies and gentlemen, contrails is basically the fumes coming out the back of the steam, that coming out the back of the jet engine, the turbine, right? That will disperse really quickly, right? So once F1 flies over, like 10 minutes later, it's gone, right? See a chemtrail, it'll fly over, and then you can sit there. I sat in the garden today and watched it, and it just slowly spread out and spread out, spread out and spread out. But they were going zigzag. They were between each other, and I'm looking at the flight radar like that. There's one coming into land, but there's another 3, 4, 5 flying, and they're not showing up.
That is a little suspicious when you think about it.
Yeah. Of course it is. And I noticed one of the planes was quite low, and it wasn't an airliner. It was like a military aircraft, like a tanker.
Well, yeah. Over here, we're going to be seeing a lot more of those tankers soon, just because the fire departments are needing to use them to put out fires over here. It's going to be about that time of year.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I mean, here goes a question. Why would they need to go for those zigzag patterns in the first place?
Well, what I've learned, because I've kind of researched this a wee bit, the old chemtrails, is the people that actually, there's UFO-ologists out there, there's people that hunt ghosts out there, and then there's people that spend all their life researching this, right? And I've been watching them, and they do it in grid patterns. Maybe 6 planes will have grid patterns, right? And it's always the 6 same planes, right? It's always that they all work together. They all know each other, right? And it's to basically block out the sun. It's to basically block out the sun.
Yeah.
Last night, the sunset here, and the sky was the most unusual colour I've ever seen. Purples, greens, yellows, and there wasn't. We don't kind of lower down. We don't really get the the northern lights.
Yeah.
I'm in the central belt, and I think it's all the chemicals. It's whatever's in it. It's in the atmosphere.
Well, yeah, that's the whole reason why we get. That's the whole reason why there's color in sunsets is because of pollution in the atmosphere. And as far as the grid patterns, what I'm saying is that they have to keep that in order to basically, when you're going to put something, it's a lot like dumping something in the ocean. After a while, it's going to spread. But if you do it just right, you can make sure there's an even concentration to where nothing leaks through.
Yeah. So why are they doing it? I don't think it's weather modification. That they've got HARP for that, right? HARP still exists. They say it doesn't, but it does. It still exists. They've just built it somewhere else. Look, I think there's something more to the plan. I think they're trying to block something out for a reason. And if you notice, if this was weather modification, or this was them trying to hide something, they would do it all the time. There's days when it's been beautiful blue skies, and then they come across and they start doing it, right? I think when something comes into view at a certain point, that's when they do it. Because they know whatever this thing is, they're trying to hide. they can track it and they know where it'll be. You see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
And because they'll be like maybe like 500 miles away, it'll be blue skies, but here it'll be all zigzags, chemtrails. And then when it starts to show there, those zigzag chemtrails there, but then it'll become blue skies here. Honestly, I think they're trying to hide something. I really do think they're trying to hide something.
That banner does track. But then again, if that's the case, what is it they're trying to hide? I mean, when you think about it, obviously, say you go high up in the mountains, far away from city lights, look up at the night sky, you're going to see countless upon countless of stars. There's nothing there to obstruct the view. Nothing it's not going to disrupt any of the light flow to where you get the purest image of the stars at night. Absolutely gorgeous. But obviously, if you go to bigger cities, maybe 1, 2.
But here's a question.
If you're lucky.
Think about it. And it was somebody on the chemtrail thing that was talking about this, right? Why do they only do it during the day? Technology now, right? Technology now, they should do it at any time. Planes can fly at any time of the day, right? Why do they only do that when it's sunny and when it's no cloudy? Why do they do that? They're trying to hide something. They're clearly trying to hide something. I'm not saying it's a UFO. I think it's something that's appeared in our orbit, and I think they're trying to hide it. Because there has been weird things happening all over the world lately. Have you seen this thing about the other sun, like the sun dog? Some people have said it's a sun dog where there's like 2 suns. Where there was a guy got this video and it was absolutely amazing. It looked like the sun, but it was like a mini sun, and it was just sitting there. And there was the sun setting, but then across from it there was another sun, and then across from it there's another one in the distance. You don't get 2 sun dogs, you only get 1. And this one was a different colour, and you could see it was actually turning. It looked like, see how you've had these weird orbs, UFO orbs, right? That have been like orange balls floating about. It looked exactly the same as that, except looking at this, it was probably maybe 500 miles across. That's how big this thing was. And then it just disappeared. Just gone. Poof. Yeah. And why did they not spray this? Why did they not spray the sky at night? Because at night you would see the flashing lights of the planes going over, loads of them, right? Day, it's planes. Last night, I did check this out. I checked it last night. There was a couple of aircraft flew over. There was every hour there was a couple of aircraft went into land in Glasgow. Quite a few, right? Yeah. Every like 10 minutes there was 2, right? And they're coming from either direction. But during the day, I've maybe counted 30 aircraft today coming into land and going out again. But the ones are high altitude, because it tells the one on the radar app, it tells you their speed and it tells you their altitude. The ones really, really high up are not showing up on the GPS thing. They're military. They're obviously military, and you can see them spraying, and they're doing it in zigzag points. It's like tic-tac-toe. Is the guys playing tic-tac-toe with each other up there?
That wouldn't surprise me knowing some pilots.
Yeah. Who's in the chat? Drew's Abandoned Paranormal. Welcome, Drew. Welcome. So, I mean, what's your honest thoughts on everything that's going on right now?
It's honestly hard to say to the extent. Obviously, without a doubt, something big is about to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And it continues to track. I mean, there's several contactees have been coming out saying that these orbs are from the space arcs that, yes, some of them are associated with Federation, but that some of them are older in concept than the Federation's involvement with Earth.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't really ignore the fact that we're possibly sitting on the very edge of one of the most historic times in recent human history. We're staring at the edge of the cliff, and something is coming right behind us, getting ready to push.
I'm going to say this to people that are worrying about war happening with Russia and stuff like that. So it's a distraction. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
Right? I am not saying it's not happening. It's happening, right? But it's a distraction. It's keep your eyes away from what's really happening. And I'm going to agree with you, Dakota. Something biblical is about to happen. And I think it's going to change this world forever. But I do think there is going to be problems with China and America and stuff. I do think there's going to be skirmishes. I do think things are going to get set off. But
yeah.
I think they are coming, whoever they are. I mean, I watched an interesting program the other night, and I watched it was Coast to Coast AM, I think it was. And they were talking about the Black Knight satellite. What's your knowledge on the Black Knight satellite, Dakota?
It's heavily disputed on what it actually is. Some sources try to say it's nothing more than a loose space blanket, basically, that was supposed to help protect the craft from radiation. It just broke off.
But see, here's the thing. There's been a radio frequency coming out it for a long time now. But here's the even more puzzling thing about it. It doesn't go round the Earth. It goes from pole to pole. And round the Earth. And people will like, well, what's the difference? Well, see, that's the thing. Only humans have managed to do that with their spaceships and that. No, until long ago, we have just learned how to go from pole to pole around the Earth. See, the pyramids line up with the pole to pole stuff. Did you know that, Dakota? But that's how they think that. That's how they think that the pyramids were built, with pole to pole. And see, this is even interesting. There was an ancient god that worshipped, and I can't remember the galaxy. I can't remember the galaxy that this god came from, but it's like a dark void in this part of the galaxy. Oh, what is that again? Oh, come to me. It's like a dark void in this, and they say that that dark void, right, is an ancient civilization that's so advanced, right, they've cloaked their entire civilization. That's what the dark void is. The dark void isn't like a black hole or nothing, and it isn't just like a dark bit of space. It's, how can I say this? It's an entire part of the galaxy, right, that's been cloaked. So as other extraterrestrials driving along their spaceships are like, oh, it's just a black spot, and flee past it, and it's actually an ancient civilization. And this god that lived there, that's meant to build the pyramids, that built the Black Knight satellite, right? He was the ruler. Guess of where? Guess one of the properties that he owned. Guess what the property that he owned? Earth. At one point. And then the Black Knight satellite at a certain point, I think, was it in the 1950s, it started to like emanate a weird kind of radio signal.
Time of Tesla, yeah.
Yeah, activated.
Tesla was the one that picked it up.
Yeah, something activated. It makes you wonder, Tesla turned on.
Tesla. Maybe it was... There are FBI files that say Tesla was an alien.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is legitimate. This is actually on the FBI, in the FBI vault. Anybody can research it. That a lot of researchers say that Tesla was actually an alien from Venus.
Yeah, so say that, but what would you call him? Old Elon. He's the same. But I can't remember the constellation where these beings reside. It'll come to me in a minute.
I know which one you're talking about. I know which one you're talking about. Here's another little thing. You're talking about, civilizations that completely there's a little bit more to that, John Morris, that the Draconian Line Wars, several planets figured out how to essentially dimensional shifts so they can avoid detection by Draconian forces. This is actually something that Elena's mentioned, that several other forces have come with. and it is actually technology that we have.
Yeah, and basically this section of space, it's got multiple planets in it and other kind of suns and stuff like that.
Orion.
They've managed to they've managed to hide it. It just, see, if you look at it with a telescope, like a super telescope, it shows you all the stars run about it, and it's just a black void in the middle. And that's where they stay. They stay there. They're highly advanced, and they've had their civilization, so as nobody can fund them. But they were meant to be the owners of the Earth. This guy, whoever he was, everybody said he was a god, but he's not a god. He was just an extraterrestrial, right? And they left that satellite there that went from pole to pole, and it activated at a certain point in time. I'm wondering if it was the nuclear bomb that went off that activated it, and then it started to put out that burst. It's there for a reason. It was there for a reason.
Yeah, you have to admit, while UFO activity has technically always been throughout human history, it could explain several mythological events. It wasn't really until the 1940s that, in recent memory, it really started to take hold. Right after, I mean, you say I didn't even realize until you said something that the Roswell crash happened shortly after they started testing the nukes in the Nevada desert.
Well, if the Black Knight satellite was basically a security guard, right? That's all it was. And it was orbiting pole to pole to pole. And then when we detonated that nuke, the very first nuke, all of a sudden, we started beaming back to that civilization, right? The humans have found the art, and the humans are playing with this kind of stuff. And then it went off the scale. The UFO sightings just went off the scale, right? And supposedly, I have been told that NASA or whoever they were was meant to have blown up the Black Knight satellite, but people still today can track it because there's a radio frequency. I'd be actually quite interested to hear that radio frequency. I'm going to look for that.
Who's to say that some of the weird shit happening to us wasn't because the Black Knight was flying?
That's interesting.
I mean, think about it. There's talk of technology that responds to specific genetic signatures. Someone pointed out that the original Lilo and Stitch cartoon is probably going to be mentioned again in the live-action remake. In that show, they talked about having weapons that identified specific markers. So only certain targets would be affected. They released not too long ago that they have those types of weapons ready to go. Right as the situation with Russia is expected to blow up even further anytime soon.
I think the thing with Russia, a lot of people don't realise that Ukraine is going to lose this war. Don't listen to the mainstream media, guys. Ukraine's lost this war, right? They're running out. Do you know, this is an interesting fact, and I know it's kind of jump off this kind of, we'll go back, but the Russians, out of every seven soldiers the Russians send, they lose one. Out of every 8 Ukrainian soldiers they send into battle, they lose 7. You see where I'm going with this? There's only a matter of time before they run out of humans. And it's weeks. As soon as that ground's hard enough, it's over. It's over for them. The Russians are not as weak as you think they are. They've been absorbing all their armaments and all their men. That's what they do. They absorb all their machines, their tanks and everything like that. And then see when they're nearly ran out of stuff, they'll go for it. And they'll be screwed. And that's when war might begin. I will say that I think there's World War III is going to begin. But I don't think it's got to be as bad as folk make out. I don't think the nukes... I think there might be a few used here and there. But to be honest with you, I don't think it's Ukraine that's going to cause it. I think it's got to be China and America. I think something's going to happen there because they keep going on the new. They keep putting out the news that there's got to be like EMP strikes. And then there was all the balloons going across America and stuff, and they're issuing satellite phones, but that's quite a normal thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so I'm actually trying to look up for the tones. Actually, I don't know if I can find it. The Black Knight satellite tone frequency, because I've never heard that, and it's meant to be interesting what I've been told.
Yeah, it's definitely would be something to look at, and that could very well be a whole new show in itself, just the lore behind the Black Knight.
In fact, we'll try and get somebody to come on and talk about that. I ken a few folk on YouTube that can quite look at that stuff, because it's. I know the way the pyramids were made, it all lines up. It all lines up with the Black Knight satellite, and then they say it activated when humanity got to a certain point. It didn't activate until that bomb was detonated. The first one. I'm not talking about the ones out of Japan. I'm talking about the first one in the desert. Right. It all started. All the weird lights above cities. Remember what was the it happened in, was it Los Angeles? And they were shooting at the UFOs.
Yeah, Battle of Los Angeles.
Battle of Los Angeles. What all happened then? Near the end of the war. There's look, there's more going on than you could possibly imagine. What's happening in Europe is a diversion. It's a diversion. There's so much going on right now, with like politics and things like that are even more important than what's going on there right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look what happened with Trump, where they arrested Trump and stuff like that, where they were caught lying and stuff about him, and what's happening with the president now. I mean, look at me fell out at that rally, as you were saying the day. Yeah. It looks like he's taking a stroke. Come on.
Several of Biden's quirks. Any regular, just elderly person were to exhibit those signs, they would be flagged as potentially having had a stroke or having a stroke and need immediate medical attention. Now, granted, he's the president, and there's several global elites, and this is actually true, that go to clinics in Sweden in order to receive some of the most top-of-the-line medical care. You know how certain elites, they say, they got cancer, but then they're all better within a short amount of time. They go to these clinics. This is actually true. This clinic biopsies a sample of the tumor and exposes it to the various different chemotherapy treatments to see which one works the best and minimalizes side effects, ensuring better odds of recovery, almost like 90% recovery, even higher if I'm not mistaken. That type of stuff is being hidden from the public. Don't you think that one should be made as widely available as possible?
It's like these bio bed things that are meant to be coming into circulation soon that I keep hearing so much about, that are getting built en masse on the moon and stuff like that. See, I've got a theory about the moon that I've been sitting thinking about this for a long time. I mean, there's reports that date back to when the moon didn't exist, which I find very interesting. Mm-hmm. What happens if the moon isn't what you really think it is? What I'm saying is, what happens if it was put here, right, to protect the Earth? Like an outpost to protect the Earth. No bad things, to protect it.
Well, allegedly, mind you, the Earth is speculated to have had an essential role in the creation of life on Earth because it helps stir the tides just right, basically. But here's the thing. If it truly was a solid object, solid objects don't ring when something massive hits it.
I heard something the other day there, and it blew my mind. And I wasn't going to bring this up, but it's an interesting thing. Just listen to me. You ever noticed that when you're out walking and you look up in the day during the day and you can see the moon, right? And it's maybe half a moon, and it's there facing. But at the exact same time, somebody could be in Australia, right, in their bed, and they might go into the garden for a walk at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and look up, and there's half that moon. Do you not find that strange? Someone, it was a professor, this guy, I don't know what his name is, I'll find it and see if I can find it after, has predicted that, I'm not going to do the line of the Flat Earth, because the Flat Earth Society they're idiots, right? That's just my opinion. But anyway.
Yeah.
What happens if there's 3 moons? The one is the kind of wee asteroid thing that floats around about us now and again, right? Right? But what happens if there's 2 identical moons to the one that you see? Right? And it's actually been, look this up, honestly, Dakota, while you're typing away your stuff there, look up, and guys in the chat, look up, is there 2 identical moons? And there's a lot of top people out there says that they think that there could be 2 identical moons on different kind of elliptical to the Earth.
It's a lensing effect.
Yeah.
That's causing that appearance.
Yeah,
it's a reflection.
Know, but some people suggest.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people trying to suggest that there's more than one moon. Now, technically, Earth has 2 moons.
Yes, we do. But one's very small.
One's very small, and it's most likely a lot like the moons of Mars. It could just very well been trapped space debris or space rock. And I find it funny. Anybody that's in the chat or the lurkers that we have, anybody else notice that as Chris got into certain topics, his signal starts acting funky?
Aye. Happens all the time.
Yeah. Certainly makes you wonder.
And I'm only talking about the fact that the Earth could have 2 hanging moons, but why would they hang with me for that? If it's
it's been flagging you since you started talking about contrails.
Yeah, it's contrails. I think the threat to mind right now, and this is the only truth. It's no Russia, and it's no China, and it's no climate change. I'll tell you exactly the threat to mankind right now, and this is probably going to get me flagged. It'll disappear, and you'll never see me again. Is chemtrails. It's got something to do with our little friends that fly the UFOs, right? It's got something to do with them. It's no weather manipulation that can be done. It's either they're trying to hide something, or they're trying to spray something. Look at Agenda. What is it? Agenda 21, where they want to get the Earth's population down to 500 million by 2025.
Yeah, right as there's supposed to be something big supposed to show itself by then.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
wonder what that could be.
Oh, there'd be plenty of theories out there, but nevertheless, you also have to think about it. You said it yourself. How the fuck are they planning to do that?
Well, they've put things out there. If there would be a 3rd World War tomorrow, there would still be about 3 billion people left on Earth.
Exactly.
So it would need to be extreme. There's either got to be another buggy attack, another virus, which a lot of people are saying there's got to be another pandemic. Do you know that the British government are actually preparing for the next pandemic?
Oh, yeah, there's been a lot of talk of Mpox, as they're calling it now.
Yes.
Monkeypox.
And they're saying that it could wipe out nearly every human on Earth. That, well, obviously, there'll be maybe 1 billion left over, because you need to keep some slaves, you know?
Yeah, but here's the thing. At any given moment, there are a number of viruses and different things going on that could very well cause an extinction level event. People don't realize the number, say like dinosaurs as an example, where asteroid hit the Earth. It's not necessarily the asteroid that killed all the dinosaurs. It's the mess it caused afterwards.
See,
it's like there's countless asteroids and meteors that could potentially be catastrophic events here if they were to strike here on Earth that miss us every single day. There's countless viruses, prions, and all these different other things that are just one mutation away from giving us a genuine zombie apocalypse. We're at death's door every day.
I've got a theory about the old dinosaurs, right? And then a mad theory. How long ago did Mars look like Earth?
Oh god. That was a couple billion years ago, if I remember correctly.
Was it a billion? Was it no like 700 million years ago or something like that? Was it
something like somewhere around there.
How long ago was the design? Was the asteroid with the dinosaurs?
Asteroid that killed dinosaurs. That would be about 66 million years ago.
Right, look up while you're there. How long ago did the Mars look like Earth?
When did Mars look like Earth? Which is a genuine scientific theory. There's been I'm just saying for the people in the audience, this is a genuine scientific theory that there may have been one point in history where Mars may have been very much Earth-like, but something happened to cause it. What its modern appearance? I'm trying to get it. So I'm not pulling up exact dates yet.
Because something happened in Mars that totally changed it. Completely. And you look at the scar along the side of it. It's as if something maybe hit it. Or something happened. Let's
see. Here it goes. Now, I'm trying to look it up as we go about. See, this is what happens when we're live. We have to BS our way through a lot of shit.
Right. This is while you look it up. Right, I've got a theory. Right, that what happens if there was an advanced civilization on Mars, right? And they're like, oh, there's Earth, but Earth is more prehistoric. There's a lot of things there that would eat you, basically, right? It wasn't friendly to human life, right? What happens if they knew, right, oh, there's something coming that's going to destroy Mars. It's got to change it, right? And they thought, right, listen, we've only got a certain amount of years before we need to flee. What happens if they deliberately killed off the dinosaurs, right, and fled Mars to Earth?
All right, we finally got some numbers here. It is speculated that, based on evidence that was about lakes and streams once found on Mars, that Mars would have looked a lot like Earth about 4.5 billion years ago.
Yeah.
The asteroid that ended the dinosaurs was 66 million.
Right, so it's obviously not that then. But I do think that there was something happened. I know, I had to bring that up. Pete, you've got the same mind as your dad.
Clearly. You can definitely tell who his daddy is.
Pete here's like a farmer type guy, and he probably knows it. Can you imagine what a Martian cow must look like? It's probably got 5 legs or something like that, or 6 legs.
4 udders.
Milking away all night, you know.
Green milk. Yeah, you seem to be all too happy doing this motion.
Well, Pete's into that kind of thing. He's into that kind of farming thing, you know. Well, that's what
I don't want to ask.
That's what farmers do. They're right into milking cows and stuff like that. As long as it's a cow you're milking, it's not like a bull or something like that.
I was about to say, yeah, you definitely seem like the type you would accidentally try to get milk from a bull.
You're going to bring up that movie. What's that movie with the guy with the... Is it Kingpin it's called? The guy with the false hand. Oh, come on. He plays
What
10
movie are you
pinball
talking
and he's
about?
got a false hand. People ken who I'm talking about. There's a scene
Big
in it where he
Lebowski?
goes to a farm. No.
No. Okay, it's like you're almost old enough to be my father, Christopher. What movie are you talking about?
I can't. It's called Kingpin. It's about. I need to say it, John Morris. Thank you very much. Kingpin. The guy lost his hand, and it's a rubber hand that he's got. And it was a kingpin tournament. It was the boat 10-pin bowling, and he goes to stay with the Amish for a couple of days. And he dresses up on an Amish gear, and he comes back to the guy as they're leaving. He says, "Listen, I've milked your cow for you, and this is really fresh." And he's drinking it at that, and the farmer turns around and goes, "We don't have any cows. We've only got a bull." See, Pete came up. I'm talking about Pete. Here you go. Mike would have liked this. Mike would have laughed at this. Mike would have been rolling about in bad laughter than the. You know.
I just don't know what to do with you, man.
What? What's that? What's that show? Two men.
God.
Can milk anything with nipples.
You can milk anything with nipples. Technically true.
That's very true.
Technically true.
So there you go. If you're ever stuck in the dirt and you want a cup of coffee and you want something, you just need something with nipples. I love doing this to him, Pete, by the way, because it makes him all blush and that. He goes, "Oh, look at me." He's getting red in the face and all that kind of stuff. I love doing this to him, you know. We're called bald and bonkers for a reason. If you put our two heads together, we'd be like two big giant nipples.
If I heard me look like Dolly Parton's chest, but all right.
Aye. Well, mine would obviously be a lot smaller, but yours would be like odd size. But you know, I didn't know that you can milk anything with nipples. You know?
Yeah, you can.
You ever seen the film Meet the Fockers? You've got tell me you've seen the film. And he goes, the very first episode, he says they milked the cat. He helped milk the cat.
Yeah.
See, ladies and gentlemen, he's young. He's only 26, 27. He's 20, he looks older than he is. He's only 27, you know. He's young. He's never seen these films. You need to watch that film, Kingpin. It's a great film with his big rubber hand. It's an oldie, but it's a goldie. What? What?
I don't know.
I don't know. But see, this is.
I don't know what to say. I legitimately don't know what to say.
See, this is the generation that's taking over the planet. Is young people like us, you know.
No, I'd be more worried about Gen Zers.
You've got to be dreaming about nipples tonight, haven't you?
You don't want to go in my head, man.
So there you go. So, going back to the Martian, going back to the moon. The moon, what would you say the moon was? I mean, it did ring like a bell when they fired the rocket in there.
Yeah.
Is that why we've never went back?
Well, if something was up there, I imagine they would be kind of pissed. You know what I mean?
Well,
you're in your house. If all of a sudden somebody throws a giant ass rock at the wall,
did you not find it strange? What was the last? Was it India, or was it China that just sent a rover up there to the moon and it mysteriously crashed just a month ago, 2 months ago?
I think that was China.
Yeah, it was China. Oh dear, it crashed. India sent one up to a couple of months ago. and it crashed too.
Oh, they couldn't call customer support.
No, hello. We have crashed into the moon. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
We tease with love, ladies and gentlemen. We tease with love. We promise.
You are calling the moon. You are in a queue of 4,696.
Dear God.
Because of the time delay of 10 minutes. By the time this call reaches the man in the office, your spaceship is gone. I'm sorry, ladies. I couldn't help myself there. I'm thinking about Pete there milking that cow with his nipples or whatever he's doing now.
Awfully specific visuals you have of Pete there, man.
Ah, well, he's like Mike. He's like his dad, you know. You know, it's Mike the Naked Bigfoot was an awesome guy, and he put many a visual into people's heads, especially one of the episodes
that
is
so very true. I can't argue.
I mean, remember the episode, the most infamous episode that Pete, that your dad Mike had did was sex and the paranormal. If you haven't watched that, guys, you have to go and watch that. I still have not recovered from that. I really haven't. I can't even watch it. It's just that funny. But honestly, see the moon. I think the moon is more than people think it is. Why does all the rovers that they send up there, they know, crashing into it? And no, China's sending one up. I bet you something goes wrong with the lunar Chinese thing that they're building. I bet you something goes wrong with it and it crashes.
Well, most treaties that, in fact, that China actually just entered into, it gives the U.S., basic authority over a space command, for lack of a better word.
No. So are you saying that wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that America is deliberately taking out non...
No, these treaties have already been passed. It's been done. It could very well be the Americans. We have a long history of. We have a long. Yeah. We have a long history of sabotage and shit.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine what is up there, or the minerals that's up there right now? Can you imagine the old lunar rovers and stuff, what that's worth? The gold, the platinum, the copper ores.
God, that would be a very pretty penny. No,
trillions.
Allegedly, there's already an mining operation up there.
Yeah, that's the United States that's doing that. Where do you think all the wasted? It was quite interesting. I was watching a program the other day there, and it was the guy was talking to a senator guy, and he says to him, "Where are all the trillions of dollars that we give you actually going?" He says, "I can see some of it's going to defence, and some of it's going to like the governments and stuff like that. But where's that actually going?" And the senator guy is like, he says, "That's actually a good point, because there's actually trillions of dollars each year just disappear into nowhere. Where is it going?" I think it's going to make certain things happen.
Yeah. And there's been several audits to try to figure out through official means where that money's going, and every effort's been shut down.
Yeah. I wish they would accidentally misplace a couple of billion and send it to me.
Right.
Can you imagine what you could do with $10 billion? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, hell, you saw what I could do with 40 in Times Square, so.
I know. $10 billion. Can you imagine what you could do with $10 billion? I mean, $10 billion is nothing to the US government. $10 billion is like a day's worth of spending in whatever the space program that they've got. Oh, look, there's a window with there's a toilet seat. It's $600 million. We'll call it that, and we'll go claim. I do think there is a lot of like corruption and stuff in governments and stuff. I do think there's a lot of like people taking money. You notice my frequency started breaking up there again. when we started talking about that. Yeah. But there you go.
Well,
So, are we having an open panel tomorrow night, Dakota?
I just got to thinking, we can't exactly trust the official leaders to come out with anything but saying, yes, there's something weird in the sky. No, we don't know what it is. So, something I want to do, and it's something that we want to do with these documentaries that we've talked about on and off for quite some time, is get enough people to rally together and say, yes, something is happening. Basically, force the issue even more. Did you know that Scott Kelly was on the panel for the NASA conference?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know he had his own UFO experience that he openly admits to?
I heard something about it, but go and tell us really quickly.
Yeah, now Scott Kelly, he's one of the few astronauts that's logged some of the most hours in space as part of several missions. This is like, you've heard of me talking about the twin experiments, where they measure time dilation in the effects of identical twins. He is one of the twins. He's the one that stayed up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently he had a UFO experience while he was in Virginia Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And initially he didn't see it himself, but a couple of people he was with did, so they flew back around to go see it. It was Bart Simpson. It was a fucking balloon. It's a lot like that flying humanoid that I think was out of California. It turned out to be a Jack Skellington balloon. Fucking Tim Burton movie.
A lot of these things can be, what do you call it? A lot of these things can be understood. A lot of these things are natural phenomena. A lot of these things are blowing away balloons.
Yeah.
I mean,
you gotta. I bring this up because you gotta consider there's a lot of people who want to jump to the idea that, okay, this is already paranormal. I can't explain it, so it's got to be paranormal. And they're just the biggest idiots out there. Yes, something big is happening, but let's not corrupt ourselves by allowing the same paradigms that a lot of religious zealots allowed themselves to follow.
Yeah.
We could very well be meeting the source behind several religions and mythologies throughout human history with all this UFO stuff.
Yeah. That's the only thing. I do think when our little friends do appear en masse, and when we start talking to them, and when we start talking to them as if we're talking right now, I do think a lot of the religious side of things, there's got to be a lot of people that maybe take things too far, if you know what I'm saying, like mass suicide and stuff like that. I do think there will be that, but I do think we can handle it.
There's also the matter of the racism that's going on.
See, it's interesting you say that, because the whites are going against the blacks are going against the whites, right? And aliens turn up and they're blue.
Yeah. I mean, we already have a level of prejudice that's showing up. In fact, there's people like, who are eager to try to shoot down some of the most positive experiences of where all the evidence points that something outside normal explanation may have saved someone's life. They are so eager to find the fault in it. Mm-hmm. It's saying about a white person hating against a black person and vice versa. You're not different races. We're just different. We're just funny looking people to each other. And that stems from tribalism. The second we get ETs in the mix, that's going to kick in. And a lot of these people that try to claim they're all love and light, they're going to be some of the most hateful assholes out there.
That's the thing. There's a lot of people that believe that the only aliens out there are the Nordics. They're tall, they're blonde, and they've got blue eyes, right? That's all they believe. Yeah. But what's going to happen is they are going to come. Let's say the Federation land and the White House lawn. the big door opens up, and out comes a Nordic, and out comes a wee guy with blue eyes. Then out comes a guy that's kind of funny looking with tentacles, and then out comes everybody that comes out the spaceship. Every one of them's different. Can you imagine what's going to happen? So all of us that are awake to all this and that, we've got to be like, yay! But then there's going to be folk that are going to be like, kill them, that kind of thing. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I mean, there's races out there that have tentacles coming out of their head that almost look like weird dreadlocks. And allegedly the Federation has this taken into consideration that when the first one starts showing up, they are going to be the ones that can pass off as everyday humans. You look at some of the UFO reports and declassified documents. They say, yes, they look like us, but say if you were to cut one open, they're going to look kind of funky.
So there you go, Pete. You could be sitting there in your garden. You'll be sitting out there in the mountains. There, sitting in your chair, and a spaceship might land down, and this big tentacle things will start chasing after you up the mountain. But you better, if it's got nipples, you can milk it.
No, I'm just saying, we may have some sort of idea through contactee and disclosure movements, but the reality is, how can any of us truly say we are prepared until we are truly faced with the situation head on? We can read about it, we can hear all these eyewitness testimonies all we want, but we're not going to know what it's going to truly happen until the day comes.
Oh, I think when it does happen, I still think it'll take humanity a while, because when the day come, they're not just going to give us all the technology and everything on the spot. They're not going to just say, all right, here's the light drive, they can travel anywhere in the galaxy and stuff like that. Or here's this that's going to cure all your cancers and things like that. I do think they will give us medical stuff that will help with a lot of stuff. I do think they'll give us clean energy, but I think they'll want us to work a wee bit to travel outwards. They'll give us stuff, but they'll not give us what they've got, top stuff.
If anything, the materials that we're getting, we may have to think of it as like hand-me-downs a parent might give to a child.
Yeah. So they're old computers for like maybe 10,000 years ago. That's what we'll get. So tomorrow night on the live, what we doing tomorrow night?
Like I said, well, we're going to open up the panel tomorrow. If anybody wants to come in, share their take on what's going on in the world, should maybe share their own stories, you're more than welcome to.
Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the chat, Pete, if you want to come in and tell us any strange stories you've seen in the farm, any strange extraterrestrials you can tell us about, and MD in the chat, you are welcome to come in. Obviously, there's got to be, whatever happened about that? Remember last week there was that guy that joined. What happened with that? That strange character, you lost the plot and you went into meltdown.
I went into meltdown. I'm sorry. I don't necessarily care for people that go and make remarks like he did.
I know. That was bad. That was bad.
No, that was despicable. And I know people get a little flustered about me firing off, but when you read the types of things he was putting down, I think I was more than justified.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't had any further communication from him since I made sure to announce on the air, and I was not kidding, that I already found his name, face, and address within 5 minutes of him popping up in here.
It just shows you. Kim, I mean. Yeah. That's the only thing you have to watch out for when you do put the link in, because I had that when I go Scotland, when I put the link in, strange people appeared,
Yeah, I know one of them comes from the Parapost side of things, because we get the notifications from him, and I'm just like, all right. Now, I'm more curious about that one chick that was harassing you.
Oh, aye, that's right.
That one that was talking in the private chat and all that?
Aye, that's right. Aye. Look, you just get folk that you get folk that are jealous, and you get folk that buy their subscribers and stuff like that, and then expect everybody to come flocking to their channel. As you know, I was looking at somebody on YouTube last night, and they had 5 million subscribers and 1 view.
You know, I think we need to find some kind of psychologist to talk about that. To talk about why people act the way they do online.
I've always wondered that, because you get keyboard warriors and trolls. I watched a program about it one night where they actually tracked in the trolls, and the trolls were like saying they were this and they were that, and they were totally, absolutely different. They were like in their mother's basement kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
most of the people that go to stir up trouble on the internet, chances are they're losers in life, and they know it, and they hate it. And because we're doing so well, and like I messaged you before the show, I've been in talks with some even more you just had something fly past your little neon signs there.
What?
You just had like a mist behind you.
I wouldn't worry about that.
No, I know. I'm just saying, for the people that like to listen on the podcast side of it, come join a video show. I know. The light around, specifically the ghost.
My curtains are drawing.
No, it was like the light from the ghost one bounced like you had fog moving in front of it. Just, I don't know. See, it also doesn't take much to distract Dakota.
Maybe it's my pal Robert. Or then again, it might be somebody else. It might be friends.
Maybe it's those things with the pretty blue eyes that you've been telling me about.
That's right.
You know, Chris, I'm just gonna say it. I know that you expressed that you only really try to talk to me about things that are going on because you don't necessarily feel secure. But you know what? Maybe it's time for you to start coming out a bit more.
Maybe one day.
Hey, come on! Don't be such a chicken.
It's not that. It's awfully cold here. It's weird you should say that, because my room is really, really warm right now. It's probably from my house nest.
Yeah. But yeah, no, just saying, man.
You know,
just saying. Yeah, gotta get yourself out there, man.
You came to us. It's Mike. He's coming to visit me. He's looking for the nipples to milk.
Oh, then I cover your chest, man.
Mike, if you can hear me right now, please visit Dakota in the night and give him a milking. You're going to get really, really cold there all of a sudden. Oh, here, that's brilliant, by the way. It's boiling in this room. Stay round about me. Why can you not have a ghost round about you on a hot day?
Well, you could, but that'd be kind of...
That's brilliant, man. It's nice and cold.
That'd be kind of greedy.
Half hour. That's good. That's brilliant, that is, by the way. It's probably starting there saying, well, it's probably away and doing something. I'm not bloody conditioning.
You're probably creeping the thing out, man.
You know, you need to watch that film Kingpin. I think you would like it. Honestly, it's got loads of stuff in it that you would love.
I'll take your word for it.
What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? I think you should go and watch it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you tomorrow night on The Strange and Unknown. And I'm going away to filming tomorrow, so that'll be interesting.
Well, let's see what lunatics decide to stop in tomorrow.
See, there's Stephanie. She says Kingpin's good. She's seen it.
It does feel kind of weird some days knowing that most of the people in this community are old enough to almost be my parents. But see you next time.
Thanks for tuning into the Bald and Bonkers Show. If you enjoyed the show and want to show your support, head over to our website at baldandbonkers.net. There, you'll find our merch, services, and more. Thanks for being part of the Bald and Bonkers family, and we'll see you on the next episode.